Hi guys, I'm back at it at Spider's request to help you with more entries, better entries. Sorry for the background noise and the music. Jazz is not my choice. Unfortunately, I'm forced to listen to this because I got some crazy neighbors. I live on this street where there's some weird freaking ice cream vans coming non-stop by exactly the time when I start my trading session. Then during the nighttime I have kids who get bored doing nothing, and of course they want to give a free concert to anyone on the street to hear their musical choice. Can you hear it? Yeah. They're in a car and they're listening to this on loudspeaker. Awesome. Oh well, okay. Let's get back on this. So, this is today's recording that we did, and it seems like a lot of people struggled with the trades today, especially in the first hour of the session, because we didn't have any live arrows, because we've been so spoiled, we didn't have any ranging days. So, some people did lose. Spider, I think he took UC up, although I hope, Spider, you see this. If you look at it right now, and you see UC being so high up on top of the BB band, even touching this, this golden line. This is clearly a sign that this thing is gonna come down. And the trend is not really up, it's just on the 1 hour, but this is down, on the daily was down, on the 8 hour was down. So when you see this spider, when you come in the session and you see that this was a previous live candle and it had a huge, look at this, a huge move up, you gotta expect this thing to come down. Also, Spider, you had a blue. Do you know what a blue does every single time it shows up? There's an arrow coming next to it. A blue, every time it comes up, it's going in the direction that it says. That's why Jules knows it's blues, because they're supposed to come down. So, guys, when you come in the session and you see that a move already happened up, yeah, it might still go up for a bit, but it's gonna come down, mate. Just like stay away from it if you don't want to write it down, and just ignore it and move into the best pairs that seem more the better choice. So, see, Spider, why UC up was not a great idea? It was already super freaking high. This thing had to come down for you to take it back up. Okay, so let's start the session and let's see what trades do we have. So when we started, we had nothing on GU, no live arrow here, no live arrow here, right? Now, the trend here is up, but it's sort of also down because it's not pointing up. It's above the yellow line, but it's not pointing. It's kind of a little bit down. It's like meh. Okay, this thing is slightly down, but then the clearer way to see which way this thing is going is to check the short term. So the short term is underneath the yellow line, so it's down. It's super close here, so this is definitely messy. However, it's starting to point down. This 5 minute, it's kind of steady down, so this is good. So we're fixing it to go down on it, right? But right now, there's a move happening up. So we're not doing that for now. Now, let's check EU. And now, also, by the way, this is active underneath the orange road, so that's great. The previous arrows here, candles are underneath the orange road. The previous candles all underneath the orange road. Underneath the orange road, what does it suggest? That most of its moves happened underneath. So this is a good sign for a downtrend, okay? Now let's go into EU. EU is actually above the orange road. This is an active candle in between, right? So this seems like ranging, right? Because it's not going up if it was meant to go up, and if it's a trend up like it is. This road is super close, tight, so we don't know where it wants to go. And look, in comparison GU to EU, look EU how flat it is. And look GU how it has a slight bend. Even a slight small bend helps sometimes, but this flat thing, how do you know it's gonna go? Look, green candle, red, green, red, green, red. It's not going anywhere, is it? So when you see this and you can't read it and it's kind of flat, don't get in it. Just don't get in it. There's no point, because you don't know which direction it's gonna go. And it's in this session, it's all about finding, kind of foreseeing where the trade is going during the session. And how can you foresee this? Where's it gonna go? Just based on the trend? That's not enough. You gotta check the roads, and the roads are flat as a flat tire, okay? So there's no way to go anywhere. So you don't take EU for now. You just put an X on it, and you don't take it for now, okay? Not until we get a clear sign or something, or more signals on all three smaller charts. Now, you see it's still going up, but that doesn't mean that you have to take it up. Because like I'm trying to think, Spider, where did you take this up? Because there's no way you waited for this to come down and then took it up. Because I'm sure by that time the move already was starting to come down, and this was going to come down. So the only way you would have taken it up was here or somewhere really silly high. And look, you have blues warning you. It's going to come down. 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 Right? So don't touch it. I know you're tempted when you see +7 momentum and oh my god, look at this huge candle. Look at this large, long candle. Don't take it. Why taking it? To risk it when you've got other better trades coming up your way. So if you see this that already had its move down, up, done, you let this thing come down, you let this thing show up down, and then when you get confirmation to go down on it, you can go down if you want. If not, confirmation meaning from the 1 hour, because when the 1 hour comes up, it's gonna come down for sure. Even if the trend is pointing now up, this thing is gonna come down for sure. Unless you get arrows up or a clear trend up, starting from the bottom, then you can take it. But if you have these blues on here, you don't take this thing up, because any minute it could come against you. Any minute. You get it? It's like a ticking bomb. You don't know when the arrow is gonna come next to these two blues, even if it's pointing up. You gotta have an arrow with it up to go or down. Okay, so I think we missed the first trade, so let me go back on it so I could show you an entry, okay? So this is how it started in the room, right? So this touched here and it needs to reach back up. 5 minutes, we have a yellow-red, so we'll let this thing come back up. And this is when I look, well, this is where I would take normally the trade. See, this is the perfect entry for me that I would take. However, this might not go up to there, so let's see up until where it wants to go. So let me tell you something, guys. I never enter on the candle that it's not closed yet. I always enter on a new candle coming up. So meaning if the move, let's say it's this thing is showing that it's going to come down and you can see the wick. I'm not going to enter here on this candle. I'm letting the next candle come, because usually it's a small retracement up when the next candle comes. And then as soon as I see a small wick on this, because I know it's close to the BB band and it's going to touch it, a wall, it's going to come down, then I take it down. So I never enter on the candle that is not closed yet, because you always have to take the trades at 0, 0, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. So you've always got to enter trades on new candles. Those are the best entries, because they form as high or as low as possible, because that's when they start to form. You get it? So I always enter on new candle. So if this move had already started at, let's say, 0.01, right? At 9 and 0.1 or 9 or 0.2, right? And I can see the wick starting to come down at 9.03. I'm waiting 2 more minutes for 9.05 to show up, for a new candle to show up, because I know it's going to level up with this one. It's going to go a bit high if this didn't touch the BB band. If this touched the BB band, the next one's going to come next to it, right next to it, and then it's going to start shooting down. And how do I know? Because I can see the wick that touched the top BB band, and it's starting to come down with confirmation of either momentum, DX, or arrow. Okay, so I always enter on a new candle forming on either 05, 10, 9:15, 9:25, 9:30, 9:35, and so on. You get my point. Okay, so this is what I mean, right? So you see this thing already started here. Now, I didn't want to enter in this one, on the green one, because it's a yellow-red, and there's another risk. This is a live, actually. This is still a live candle, right? If you were to enter in this one down when it touched the orange road. So you need to wait for a new candle to take it back down, okay? And this is how it's forming. You see, when it's making up its mind, it's forming to come down. And now, but between GU and EU, this would have been the better option because it touched the orange road, right? You can see it touched the orange road. It's close to the orange road here, right? It's on the orange road here. So this is what I mean, guys, when I tell you, pardon me, I just ate dinner, so this is what I mean, guys, when I tell you you can't just enter on top of the BB bands here or on the orange road here just on 5 minutes without overlooking these two charts. Why? Because if there's space like this between this and this, there's a chance this thing's going to pull back up to the orange road and it's going to trick you. And you would think that the entry for the 5 minutes is here, which is quite close to orange road. And then it decides that this thing wants to come up to here. So now you're in minus what? From 70 to 80, you're in minus 10 already from the distance when you entered here to here, because this thing wanted to touch the orange road. The candle in 15 minutes wanted to touch the orange road, so it took you up to the BB band, top of the BB band, and then took you down. And this is why I like more the top of the or the lower BB bands entries rather than orange road, because sometimes it might make its mind up. However, even with taking orange road trades, if you want to take orange road trades entries, this is what you look for this thing to come and touch, to literally become one with the orange road, this thing to be next to the orange road, and then you know that the sucker will want to go up because it's touched already the orange road. And when this thing moves and you have the DX green, even if it's a small 5 red, you know this thing is not going to last, it's just going to disappear, because every time a candle comes next to the orange road, small 5 reds appear, either down or up, but that doesn't mean they stick. As long as you have something contradicting this it doesn't mean that it sticks. Of course, if a super pink comes up, then that's a more certain, more stronger arrow, but this is just an arrow that flashes and goes away, right? So you don't have to be necessarily afraid of this, because I know I tell you, don't enter when you have a live arrow candle against your move. So if you're on 5 minutes and you want to come down, and this would have been a super pink up, definitely I would have not entered it. Even though maybe that the super pink would have just disintegrated and then disappeared by the time this thing moved down. I still don't encourage it, because I want you to start fresh, simple, safe, no stress, no sweating, all good, okay? So let me show you back again the entry on EU. I want to talk a bit more because I want you to understand. So let me show you something. You see how this thing already touched the orange road, and you see how the wick is starting to form? This is a sign already. This is a pre-sign telling you that the next candle that's coming, and it doesn't have enough power to move past it, it's going to come back down. Now you wait. You don't do anything. You just wait. Now you see this thing changing its mind. You see it touched the orange road. This is a sign that this could be your entry to go down. You see how it touched here? And you see the wick, how it touched the yellow road? This is a sign that it wants to come back down. So you wait for a sign. If you don't, usually this is me. This is how I trade, right? But from the BB bands, not the orange road. But I'm showing orange roads too. As soon as I see this touch of the orange road here, and I check on 50 minutes and there's no gap and it's fine here, and there's no gap here, as soon as I see that, I enter. So I would have entered at 75 or 74, and I don't even wait for the extra momentum because I know it's going to come down, right? How do I know? Because I'm deciding based on the trend or the arrows or the bounce, okay? So the bounce is on the walls, orange road or BB band. So that's how I would have decided that this thing's going to come down. And I would have taken it right there. But you took it when the DX changed, right? At 73. And it went down almost 10 pips, okay? So let me scroll back again to show it to you guys. Back again. I want to repeat this, and I want you to see this all the time. You see this thing moving? It touched the orange road. It touched. This thing is going to disintegrate. I think this was a small red, right? This is going to change. Then, when you see this weak, it's a sign that it's weak and it's not going to go past it. So what you do, you don't enter in this one. Why? Because it's still a live arrow on a live candle. You wait for the next candle showing up and you enter. On the next candle, as soon as you see a small retracement or a small sign of weakness and it can't go anywhere, and as soon as you get a confirmation of a DX or momentum. Why I'm telling you this? Because you're a newbie and you need to go first with the safety measures and then go like me or any other MT. And then look, you had the band flip up to down, okay? Okay, this touched here, it's touching here. You see, it touched the 15 minutes. You're next to the orange road. This is the perfect entry, guys, and this is the perfect signing confirmation that everyone's been asking in Jazz and Rain. This is the confirmation you need on the smaller time frames for you to know when you enter. When this is close to the orange road, touching the orange road, touching the orange road, or on top of the orange road, this is the perfect entry. Obviously, I would have loved it started from here, but this is an orange road one, and this is still perfectly fine and valid. So, you see, it touched and then it became red, and now it's making up its mind. And then it's going to become back again red, and it's going to come down at 74, right? But you're waiting for a DX. So it rather missed 1 pip, but make sure your entry is still very good and correct with the perfect confirmation, okay? Come on, DX. Bam, 73. Right there, you entered at 73. Okay. And that's about 9 pips. Let's let this thing come down. Come on. 64, 65. Okay. So we entered at 73. And at 65. And now you're analyzing. Why you're analyzing? Because look, it's close. It's getting close to the BB band, to the bottom of the BB band. So you gotta find a way to know that when it's out. This is what I mean, guys, when I told you earlier this week when do I exit. Sometimes before momentum or sometimes before a new arrow comes around against me, because I can already see the next wall that's touching, and you know when this wall gets touched or this wall gets touched and it doesn't want to go against it and it's forming a wick, so this is strong. You know that a new candle's coming or there's some sort of repercussion in it once you go back up, because it's a wall. It's a wall. So as soon as it gets close to this, I'm looking to get out. Okay? So I think we're gonna get out at 65 if it doesn't want to go to 64 or 63, and we entered at 73. So that's 8 pips. That's still great. It doesn't matter if you didn't take your full 10. Don't be stubborn and don't risk it. It's not worth it, okay? It is not worth it. You've taken your pips, set 64. There you go. This would be the lowest that it's gonna probably go to, okay? 64, so that's 9 pips. Because look now, it's touching the BB band. So now that's it. You're making your stop, and see how it's retracing, and that's it. That's your first trade. That was your first entry. Okay, now let's re-evaluate. Okay, so we took this from here up until here. Now we look where the candles are right now. They're pretty low, so this means that there's gonna be a pullback back up, right? Quite a big one, up until the top BB band. So this is what I do every day. Once I take a trade, I let it come back up, no matter how long it takes, 30 minutes, an hour, I let that happen. And today I only took 2 trades. I didn't even take this one, you see, because I wanted to take the highest possible. And that was on GU, I think, that I did. So we did that. So there was a similar version. Usually GU and U have kind of twins trades. So it was a similar version of it. Same way. See, it touched and then it went back up. So we're going to let this thing go back up, and meanwhile we're just surfing around and seeing what's happening. So now, as you can see, we're starting to get what it looks like a pullback, but just a 5, for now, it won't do the job. And this might be a fake entry. You know why? Why this might be a fake entry for a downside? Because this is still in green. This is still green. This is red. This didn't change. Now, if the DX would have changed into green here, then I would have entered it. Because it's a nice pullback that's going to probably become a downtrend because it's gone up for so high. But you don't go into it and just enter it. You see, even if it's now this is where people get hurt, like real bad hurt, right? Why? Because they see the DX, especially on UC, especially when it's such a strong move that was previously up, and they just enter based on that. But then they don't check this, and the UC is a different situation compared to EU and GU, because this has also oil, and the oil is pretty powerful. So you gotta always check the DX here, it's a DX for the oil. This has to be reversed because it's at 9, guys. That's super dangerously high, right? It's not similar as momentum to this. This is the momentum for you get, but this is the oil. So this oil has to change into green for me to enter this kind of move. So this is how I know this is a fake trade. And you'll see why I say it's fake. Fake, fake, fake. Look at it. See? You would have entered, what, at 69 or 68? And now you would have been in loss. Look, this would have drove you mad, thinking, oh my god, this is going to go up so high against me. And you never know. And look, now you're at 72. So now you're already minus 3 pips in, and you're like, oh, why? What happened? Well, you go figure, okay? I just explained what happened. So, this is not the real one that started. Now, when a 15 minute shows up, this is a sign that it's going to start, but not yet. Why? Because you don't have this changing. This is still pounding green, so you gotta wait. So, but when you get a 15, what did this thing say, right? Look for 15 and 5 and 15 correlation. So when you have that, when a 15 shows up, then you're looking like, okay, things are getting serious then. So if you were to enter and use it down, you know when and how to enter it, okay? So, let's see. Okay, so now we got some serious situation. Now we have a yellow, which is a sign of what? Of a strong reversal. So this is good. This is good. Now we need this to change into green. Okay, I want to show you a UC one, even though it was playing around. And I want to show you UC specifically because Spider lost on an up. So we're going to wait for this thing to want to start retracing back down. And okay, you saw that, right? So the second this thing went green, this thing started to move down. You see how fast trades move here? Look at that. 71. You see how fast trades move? Literally in a split second, if you don't pay attention to the entry and to the momentum or DX or oil, that's it, you've lost your entry. And in 3 seconds, this thing is going to come down 5 pips. And there's no point entering down here. There's no more point. Because again, if it's going to go against you, are you willing to lose 15 pips because of your bad entry? And this is why, guys, I can't really chat while I'm trading. Because my entries have to be super perfect, on point. And for that, I need my full attention on these charts. And again, I can't even do 3 charts at the same time, meaning 3 trades at the same time. I take 1 trade per time. This is how important it is for you to concentrate and focus. That's why I don't get when newbies talk mostly on chat and then they're saying they're losing trades. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Like, you're not giving your full attention to the charts sometimes. So when you're seriously trading, it's okay to chat and to ask people around. That's fine. That's how I've learned too. But you also have to be serious when you're ready to get to trade and when you know the direction when Jazz told you the direction, or someone told you the direction where you want to trade, or someone said, hey, or BR said, this is easier today, trade this. That's it. Okay, I know this is easy. They've told me, perfect. Now let me focus on these charts. Let me look at them closely and see where about should my entry be and find every single little reason, spark, light, number, whatever, to want to take it down. Okay? So we enter at 71 with oil. Yeah, with the arrow, definitely. But you also had the 15 minutes arrow, so you were good with that. Okay, so we entered at 71. And let's fast forward. Okay. It went up until, it's at 61, almost 62. So that would have been 10 pips. Okay, so that's 10 pips right there, guys. That's how you make one trade with 10 pips. Because you take it from as high as possible, as close as possible to the BB band, with the right confirmation, and you take it down. And you do not hesitate, because if you would have hesitated, look how fast it went down. From 71, it shut down like super fast. And that was it. That's why I lose so many trades, in the sense that I lose the entries of the trades, because they happen so fast sometimes, and I might not be in my best day, I might not be super focused or accurate, and then I just miss the entries, and sometimes I just miss a lot of really good trades. So see, it's already flashing at 2, now it's at 68. 68! It's faster on FX Pro than on here. So as soon as it flashed 71, in 2 seconds, it went to 68. So you've already lost 3 pips in the move. And it's important, because those 3 pips plus the 7 pip move that would have been up until here, that's 10 pips, that makes your 10 pips. So it's really important that you enter, you see it, and you take it straight away, and you don't hesitate. You had no reason to hesitate, because you've seen the oil changing. You've had a 15 minutes with you. You had a 5. You were at the top of the BB bands. That was it. That was it. Okay? So that was your second entry. I don't want to just show you entries. I want to explain what you have to look for to know that this is a valid entry and it's not a fake one. Okay? Now let's reevaluate again. What do? We reevaluate, okay? So this move happened. We had to let this thing come either to the orange road or the BB band, and then we take it back down again. Make sure there's no active arrow against it here. Make sure these candles are close to the orange road and there's no space, because when there's space, this thing has to come back. This gets like attracted like a magnet. Imagine this candle and this being 2 magnets. They attract each other. They want to stick next to each other. So there can't be any space. Do you see any spaces in here? There's no spaces. There's no spaces. Even this has a wick. So it must have had to touch. It had to touch the orange road. It had to give the permission to the orange road to go back up then. Okay? So this has to come back to the orange road. Every candle has to come back to the orange road. So by you wanting to think that I'm going to take this thing down, it's wrong. Why? Because look at the space. First of all, obviously the entry is super shitty. And then also the space. And also it's touching this lower BB band. You got to think that there's going to be a reaction here. Why? Because there's nothing on the 1 hour down. If there would be an arrow down, then you would be fine. It would go through. But there's no arrow down or 4 hour. There's nothing here down pointing. So you must expect a bounce from here. Okay, you must expect this thing to come back up, and it's gonna do that. Exactly that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we see we're getting close to the BB band. This is pointing very nicely down, and we're gonna let this thing come as close as possible to the BB band, touch it, and then we come down. This thing is still climbing into the lower BB band, and it's still not touched the orange road, so we're not touching it either. We're letting this thing come back up. The same story with GU. Look at the space between this candle and the orange road. It must come back up, even if it's super close to the BB band, you see? This doesn't mean it's a good entry. Look at the 50-minute chart, and now look, you have a 30 minutes with you. So, it's not a great idea. You gotta let this thing come as high as possible to the orange road. Touch it or touch it with the wick. But this is not your entry, right? Because you could say, oh, hey, well, I'm at the BB bands. Oh, well, I'm at the orange road. Why not? Let me take it. No. Nope. Because look at the space. This has to touch the orange road. This candle has to touch the orange road. You cannot take it like this because it's going to go against you. This is a bad entry. See, when you're rushing and you're like, oh, but it's high. Okay, let me take it now. Nope. Wrong. Wait. And then now you have a pink against you and you're like, shit, I entered already. What am I going to do? Well, you're about to lose your ass. That's what you're about to do. So don't do that. Just calm down and wait. Patience is the worst enemy here because you see all these flashes and momentums and you think you're missing on the action and you enter stupidly and then that's why you lose. You gotta stay focused. Keep your eyes on the charts and on the candle moving. When you can read the candle and the direction of where it wants to go, that's it. You've got it already. All you need to do is enter correctly. That's all you need to do. So now we're gonna let this thing enter. Let me fast forward a bit because it's a bit slow. Okay. Come on, mate. So, you see how this, what did I say earlier that I don't like entering on, let me go back up. I'm not gonna enter on the candle that is moving. I'm entering on a fresh new candle. So, I am waiting for 9:30 and then I'm gonna enter on the next candle that's showing up because it touched the orange road. It has a wick, so it looks like it's touched this, but we're not sure. That's why we're waiting for the next candle. The next candle is gonna confirm whether this thing wants to go up or not, right? And if it hesitates, that's your pre-sign telling you it's not gonna go higher and it's gonna go back down. Okay, so let's wait for this thing. Now it's getting closer. It's right next to the orange road. Okay, now you have a DX changing, which is a good sign, and then you have the momentum changing, which is another sign. Okay, I think this is a and it started from 67, right? Or let's just say 66, okay? 66 because of the exchange and you had the green momentum. Now again, anyone might argue with me, but this is an arrow against you. No, it's not. It's a small 5 red. And do you have confirmation with it, meaning momentum and DX? No, we don't. It's against the arrow, so it's not going to work. So you enter at 66. Don't hesitate. You're high here. You can see the wick forming, so you take it at 66, okay? And we'll see for how long we need it. It might just go up until here, and it might just be 6 pips, 7 pips. It doesn't matter. If you think it's worth it for 6 or 7 pips to take it, take it. If you don't, if you want 10 pips or more, then you just wait it out and let it go a bit higher more, and then you take it again. It's all up to you guys. So we took it at 66. So as soon as it touched this beer band, you can see it's not breaking it. You could say, okay, I'm gonna take it, and that's it. And that would have been 6 pips. But now I want to show you more BB band trades than orange road. I've shown you a few orange road trades. So you see how it still went down because it still had space, but it doesn't want to move past it. Why? Because this is on the bottom of the BB band, It's already touched it, so now the reaction is going to start to move against us, and it's going to go back up. So we're going to let this thing go back up so we can take it back down. You get me? And look at this, how nicely this started. On the same time as EU started. So let's move a bit further. Okay, it's gonna go back up. Now, This time it went through, because now this one started to become powerful. Why? Because the DX changed and the momentum changed. So of course this became valid. Now this is gonna go probably again up until the orange row touch it. And it's gonna go up until, you see how this is gonna touch the golden road. It's touched already the golden road, and now it's gonna come back down. So the second you see the wick starting to retrace, that's your sign that the next candle that's coming, it's gonna wanna go down. All you gotta do is just wait for the new candle. And you see, if you've entered then, you would have been in -2 or 3 pips, because the candle that you have now moving, it has arrows that are live. That's why you don't enter on live candle when you see already that retracement started. You let the next candle come, because it's gonna level up with this one, meaning it's gonna come next to it, gonna go a bit up high, touch either the BB band or get close to the same level of the previous candle, and then it's gonna start shooting down. And at the next, as soon as you see the wick and you see a DX or a momentum or arrow, anything to give you a reason to come down, or a HE arrow, that's your entry right there. Okay, so now let's see where our entry would be. Now I would have entered as soon as the next candle would have showed up next to it. And you see how every new candle comes and then it makes a new move. Every new candle makes a new move. You've got to always enter on a new candle forming, meaning not at 9:43. Don't enter at 9:45, where the new candles are coming, when you can read and reassess the analysis, because at 9:45 there's a new 50 minutes coming. So that means this is going to be an old news, and the next one's going to come. And if the next one's going to have an arrow up and you've already entered, you're screwed. But if the next one comes and there's no arrow up and it's just touching the orange road, it's coming back down. And that's your entry right there, on new candles at every 5 minutes. Okay, so don't enter at 9:43 or 9:42 when you can see this thing that it started retracement. You enter at 9:45 with the new candle, because the new candle is going to set the new movement. The old candle can't help itself but move back up and down as long as you still have the candle, because this was the move meant for this candle. You need a new candle next to it. And as soon as that candle comes next to it, what's going to happen? Boom, straight down. So it's at 70, touched this yellow line. It's touching back. You see, it went back to the BB band. What did I say? Leveling up, because it has to go back up to the BB band so it could touch some wall to feel like it wants to go down or not. So it touched the wall, and now it's going to come back down, and you witness it, okay? Now this is old news. This is not going to happen anything. This is touched the orange road, so we're good. So now we're going to wait for something to come back down, because we have the small red. Okay, I don't know why I call reds 5. Like, it's only happening in 5 minutes. So it's at 72, 73. You see it's going up high. You let it do its thing, and as soon as we get some sort of confirmation it wants to come down, we're going to take it down. You see, the wick is starting to develop. Now I would have taken it probably at 73, even on actually, I would have waited a little bit longer, just because we have the 5, just because we have the small red, because it might turn into a super pink, so I would have waited for sure. So, okay, let me fast forward a little bit, because I don't want to keep it too long. So you see how it's staying here for a bit, playing a little bit. Now we're starting to get to see a wick here, okay? So this is a sign it's going to come back down. It's starting to come back down because it touched the highest. It doesn't want to move past it because it's forming a wick. So it doesn't have enough strength with this red to move past it. You don't have anything on the 1 hour up, so you can't be in danger if you would have taken it 73, okay? But as a newbie, I want you to start with a DX or momentum so you can start getting used to seeing this kind of thing. So then you get enough confidence to have the experience to know when to take it without momentum or DX, okay? So let's wait this thing out. Okay. See how it started to disintegrate the arrow? Now this is a perfect sign of entering, and if you would have entered at 73, it would have been already in 3 pips, okay? Profit. Still playing. Still nothing changed. So we're waiting. We are waiting. We're not taking. We didn't take it. You see, we had nothing to take it because we didn't have any momentum or DX. So we're gonna let it play. So this was another. You could say it's another tricky entry kind of a sort of situation where everyone says, oh, well, you're at the top of the BB band, you could have entered it. Now, if it was someone like BR, he could have entered it and still won for 3 pips because he was right to do so. He only had a red against him. So as soon as he would have seen that this thing doesn't want to go down, he would have been out of it without being caught, okay? But we didn't have any DX or momentum changing, which was a good confirmation for us that it wasn't the moment to enter. So that means we're going to wait for this thing to decide when it wants to enter. So it seems like this wants to move a bit high up. So we're going to let it move. And this is what a ranging sort of situation means. And what a ranging pair looks like, right? Because Spider was like, oh, how do I know it's ranging? Because when you see it wants to go down, but then now it's deciding, and you see it was staying there for a while, and it's like, not sure, and then it was red, the candle was red, now it's green. This is when you know it's ranging, and again, now it's starting to show up, but it's super close, and it's super flat, so you've got to consider the risk when you're taking trades like this. They're super flat, that you might not easily analyze it as a clear trend. So now you gotta let this thing happen. Now we didn't enter because we didn't have no momentum or DX. So it was another fake entry. Okay? You let this thing happen. You just let it go. Now, when I watch this kind of move, my thoughts are this ones, okay? You still don't have any arrow here. Don't have any arrow here. Which means to me that this thing's gonna go touch this BB band, touch this BB band, touch this BB band because it's super close. And then we're gonna have the move back down. Why? Because it has no arrow on 1 hour to go through it or to go any higher than this. So now my next analysis while I'm seeing the situation, because I wanted to come down on it and I didn't take it down, right, is looking to know where it wants to go now. So I know it's gonna go up to here and it's gonna want to come down if we get no arrows on the 1 hour, okay? So that's what we do. We let it come as high, touch the top BB bands, and then we look for the signals to come down, okay? Now look what happened. It touched, it went through in this one, okay? And now it's touching this, and it's gonna come down. So you let this thing move happen, okay? Now, personally, I didn't take EU at all today, because again, I saw it ranging, I didn't have a clear idea, so I've only took GU. But I'm showing you the trades that I could see as they go and just explaining you entries. Okay, now the story on GU is different because this is underneath the orange road, this was on top. So you had a risk here when you took any trades on EU because the candle was above the orange road, meaning that it could go both ways. Now look how it was above, then down, then above. See? Down. Above, wicks. So this already kind of tells you again before. It's like a preview of what's gonna happen in front of you. It's kind of telling you that it's gonna do this. So you gotta get in with the risk. So if you've seen that, then get ready to have to kind of sweat a bit when you're taking the EU because you're not sure where it's going. Now this move happened already up, so don't even dare getting in. It's too late. There's no way you would have gotten in, and I wouldn't have even gotten in up, to be honest, because it was super flat for me, and I was looking more for downs than up because of the previous 15 minutes and the previous 30 minutes and these moves that happened. But we had a red here, and then a 15 coming up, so that meant it's gonna go up. So we should just let it go up. And it was kind of, you see, it had a hard time to kind of move past the orange road. That's why it didn't give me the intention that it wants to go up. However, this thing persisted and it wanted to go up. And I think we also had a 2 bull number at during this time, so that might have caused it. Now, a perfect time to entry. The second literally, let me go back. The second you see this thing close, this means that the move up is done. See that? And then the HE arrow appears. Now you see the wick on the 1 hour, it touched the top UV band. The HE hour appears. I bet you BR would have entered on this HE hour because it started at 90, right? And this is 86, so this was 4 pips already. And it's at 90. I bet he would have taken it, and this he would have been already 4 pips ahead of you, okay? So now when I see these moves happen, and when I see this candle forming and I see the HE arrow, I enter it straight down right here at 86 because I don't want to lose any more pips down because I've lost already 4, right? Because I didn't enter here. I would have entered it without momentum in the EX, only me, because I still have nothing against me here. It's a red here for sure, but this thing did its job already. Why? Because it went to the top of the BB band, touched it, I can see the wick, and now it's coming back down. You have a blue signing of what? A sign of what? That it's coming down, okay? It touched the 1 hour, you have the wick down. This thing is coming down now, for sure. And now guess what? You have a red showing up that's going to probably transform in a pink. So I'm taking this thing. I would have taken it already, okay? But let's wait for the extra momentum for newbies, for a confirmation. So let's lose a pip or two, whatever, as long as we get the entry right. So, but every time this happens, guys, let me go back and show you. Every time a move that happened up, and you don't know when it's going to stop and come down, every time this band closes, it's like a door closing. This is the sign that it's going to retrace now, and this is it. The move is over, okay? Now let this thing come down. Let's get some the extra momentum, and as soon as we get that, we're in it. Again, revisit this. It's at the top of the BB band, at the top of the BB band. This small red never changed into a super pink, so now it's a no threat because it's done its job. Even if it's active, it's still... Now, if it would have been a pink, I would have not entered it like it's now here. Even though this, I know 100% sure it's going to disintegrate and it's going to disappear, I still don't want to enter it because it's a pink. I treat it differently with in comparison to a red. On a red, I would have entered because I know it's not going to become now super because it's done its job. It didn't become super when it was happening, but now it's done its job. So now, and I also have a blue with me, so I know this thing's coming down. Every time you see a blue, guys, do not ignore it. Look, blue. Don't ignore it. Do not ignore it. It's happening, whether you want it or not. So, we enter at 84. Bam, DX, move, 84, okay? Now, sometimes you can enter based, I would enter sometimes based on what the other move is doing. So sometimes, for example, you see GU would move faster with the momentum than EU. But you know these two are twins and they go down at the same time. So I would enter sometimes based on GU because I know this is going to start having momentum soon, but it's going to go up a bit. It's going to move some. It's not going to give me that momentum as quick as possible, or the DX. And then, or usually I would be the other way around. I would go up on GU if I would see that UC has momentum and an oil that's going down. Then I would just enter based on what UC is doing because I know these two are opposites. So this thing, if this thing goes down, these two go up. If this goes up, these GU and EU come down. So I would sometimes enter based on what the neighbor says. If I get nothing on mine, however, I have the right confirmation, being the BB band flip up, being the arrow, being it's at the top of the BB band, being the HER, you still don't have to confuse things and just go in like crazy. No, you still gotta check, being wicks on the top BB band, touch on the top BB band. So we had the DX now, we entered at 84, okay? Now let's go down, find out how far can we go. 74. Now, do you have any reason to go down, to stop this? Not yet. Let's see up until where it wants to go. Not yet. Why? Because you're here only at the orange road, and you have no threat against you. So you could still go down. Okay? It still didn't touch the BB band yet, so let it go down a bit. And boom. See how easy was that? That is what? That is 64. We entered at 84. 84 to 64 is how much, guys? 20 pips. Now let's go back and say why we should have not stopped at 74. Look back again here. 74. It's right at the orange road. You have a blue with it. Now usually next to a blue, you know what comes on a new candle? Another arrow down. So you're probably getting an arrow down anytime. You have the band flipping down. Another sign that's going to go further down. So you're not even close to you're not even touching the orange road yet. So you have still more to go, okay? That's the reason why you can tell you still have more to go and you don't have any reason to go out, okay? You don't need to go out yet. So you let this thing happen and you see it pierced through. It pierced through because now it's probably this arrow that's supposed to come. Usually arrows come late. That's why I enter before arrows, you see? They come sometimes late. Or they come as small reds. So you let this thing come down. You're still good here. You're still good here. You have no reason to not exit, even if you're on the BB bands. You may be on the BB bands here, but here you're barely at the tip of the orange road. At the tip of the orange road. Look how much space you've got here, up until 50. So, now I have a super ping. Oh, and now I have 1 hour. Now you're most definitely staying in. Because if you know you have 1 hour and this thing wants to move up till here, it's gonna break this, it's gonna break this, so you're in for a treat. So you just let it go down. You have no reason to take it out yet, okay? Let it go down. Now, when you see the wick starting on 15 minutes and 30 minutes here, right? And here, now this is a sign where you're thinking, okay, you might want to stop for now, even though you still have the 1 hour, and go back up a bit, and then it's going to come back down further. So now we're looking at ways to go out. So we could say, okay, we could go up now. Or if you want, you can wait until this thing closes from down. But you can see it's retracing super fast. So it was at 64, that would have been 20 pips. Now let's see when it retraces back for sure. Now this is where it would have, see, closed. When did it close? Let's see. 66. So you see the wick, how it started to retrace? Because as soon as you see a small sign of a wick retracing, that was the perfect time. Now, if you would have waited, you would have lost already 2 or 3 pips. It's not big of a deal. You still had 18 pips, okay? But I'm saying how I can read it, okay? This is how I read it, and this is how I can tell to exit there rather than now. So 18 or 20 pips, whenever you would have wanted to exit, this was the time to exit, okay? Or here, when the wick was starting to retrace and you could see the wicks of the candle, that was the time to know, because it was touching, it was getting close to the BB bands, see? And as soon as these candles get to the BB bands, they started to feel the defensiveness and then just want to move back up. So that was for me a sign to exit, and that would have been 20 pips, or now at 18 for those of you who wanted clearer signs of exit. So that was another example of a trade that we took this time for from the top of the BB bands. Okay. Let's see for other trades. Now again, every time I get out of a trade, I reanalyze the whole situation. What's happening? What do I need to be aware of? Do I go into on GU down? No, I don't. Why? Because I have this thing on me. Now this is super down. Look at the space between here and here. This is obviously wants to move back up. Now we have a changing of momentum, and it's gonna go to it's gonna wanna go back up because it did its thing. Okay. So we're gonna let this thing go to either orange road or BB band, and then we look for signs again to enter down. Space between the candle and orange road. Space between the candle and orange road, meaning it's gonna have to come here, want to come here. So let it come back there. Okay, UC. UC is a sort of a touch down, go up, touch up, come down. This is the situation that's happening, and these are the wicks, and this is how I could tell there's not really much happening. Okay, so There's nothing yet on this thing, so you don't need to enter it. Although even if it would be a ranging day, you would still make it if you would take it from the bottom to the top, and then as soon as it touched the top to come back down. On ranging pairs, you could still do that. Okay, let's forward it a little bit. Okay. It's still down, it's still a major trend down. Now let's see this one, how this thing started. It was still down when it started, you see? So sometimes you happen to have candles like this that just want to go down further. But I don't enter them. Even if they start here, it's still low for me. So there's no point taking them. I don't want to take the risk, okay? I just don't want to risk it. So let's wait. Let's let them go as high as possible. Okay, another good example of a trade is this one. However, there's space between here and here, here and here, so I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Let's see. You see how he went? That would have been a fake entry. You see, guys, how you could have been fooled easily because it thought, ooh, it touched the orange road. This is why, again, another reason why I don't like sometimes to take orange road trades and why I like the BB bands trades, because I know when he touches the BB band, there's no other way to go. If we're here, fine, and it's all good, and it's a downtrend. I know this is the last wall that it's gonna touch, and it's gonna want to come down. But if it's orange road, the sucker wants to go a bit higher because look at the space. Look at the space. It's gonna want to go to the BB band or the gold line, the yellow line. So this would have been a fake entry for other people, and you still didn't have any here. Okay. But for people who would have taken it without momentum and DX would have been a fake entry because, hey, look at the space, and now you would have entered at 63, right? And this thing would have moved now against you 3 pips, 4 pips, until it wanted to move, okay? So now as soon as these candles, you see, touched the orange road with the wick, touched the orange road with the wick, okay? Now, what did I say? You don't move on this candle. That's at 7:34. You wait for the candle at 9:34 or 10:34. You wait for the candle at 10:35, the new candle showing up to take it. Now, this is going to touch a bit here, and then it's going to come back down. It's also going to touch this one. So let's wait for the new candle. Now, with the new candle, you have the new move. Now, here's the new move, 65. You see how fast this thing happened? You see? The difference between the previous candle and this one is that now it touched the candle. The candle touched the orange road. The candle touched the orange road. It has the wicks form. Now you have the DX with you. This is the confirmation you need, guys. This is, ooh, how do I know when to enter if I'm on the BB band? What's the confirmation? Do you have any arrows? No. But you have what? You have a 1 hour down. Do you need any arrows? Nope. Why not? Because you have this. You have the touch of the BB band. Why not enter before the arrows start showing up? As long as you have some sort of an information to tell you that it's going to go down. You have your back covered because of this 1 hour. This 1 hour's got you. This 1 hour's got your back. He's telling you, I'm taking you down, sis or brother. Don't worry. You just worry about where to enter, okay? And your entry is as high as possible to the BB band. Now this thing touched the orange road, and then this candle closed it. And this one opened a new one at 10:35. You always enter a new move on the next candle, okay? And we entered at 65, okay? With the DX. And we'll let this thing come down. Now see, it still went a bit higher, but we're still fine. We don't mind. Now why that happened? Like the last video I did, you see, I always forget when happy hour happens. About this time happy hour happens, so of course this thing had some sort of a move to want to go up because this is starting to move up, right? So we're entering again down on a happy hour. But we're still fine because it's still hesitant, okay? It's still touching the orange row, it's still not going against, so we still have the 1 hour. So even if we entered at 66 or 65, however we have, and we're like -4, let it come back down because it's gonna come down. But again, it's my mistake because I forgot it's happy hour. Do not forget when happy hour happens, it's gonna want to move against you. So now let's let this thing come down. And it's gonna come down, trust me. Okay, here we go. So it would have, of course, it would have been so much better if we started from there. But it's okay, it's 66. And we got, so far, 5 pips. We're still good. We didn't do anything wrong, except forget that it's happy hour and it might go against you. But thank God it didn't start as for yet. And it just had a slight move up. And you see what I mean? That it wants to go to the top of the BB bands. Now, this thing's gonna go up until where? Let's see now. This thing, you gotta watch out for this because it's getting closer to this and it's gonna want to bounce from it. And also it's happy hour, so we would want to exit as soon as we can. So I think maybe 60 is best, okay? So we exit at 60 with 6 pips. Even if we're good here because it's happy hour and we just don't know, right? And this thing is moving up. This is forming a wick. There's space here, so it wants to go back up. This is how I read and how I'm analyzing situations, okay? And how I know it's not gonna be in my favor. So there we go. It's deciding to want to go up, but we closed it at 60, so we took it at 66, even though we could have taken it at 70, you see? The move started at 70. And that would have been 10 pips. It would have been easy 10 pips. But again, it was starting to be happy hour. So, of course, it had to retrace a bit. It had a little bit of issue going. And then it wanted to go back down before it started to go back up for happy hour. So do not forget about happy hour. But still, we're still good. We did do the right thing. Now, for guys who want, or girls who want to enter happy hour, this is how you know when to enter the happy hour. Look what's happening on G right now. You got the blue, you have the pink, you're at the bottom of the BB bands, you're at the bottom, right? You have a HE arrow, you have momentum. Like, this is such a perfect timing, okay? You have a HE arrow, you have momentum, you enter at, if you want to wait for 5 minutes to be extra sure, you could do that for sure. But you could have entered it easily at 21 or however much it was. 23, okay then. So we entered 23, okay? Let's wait for the arrow to come back up. You have plenty of momentum, +6. Okay, let's wait. But this is how it's showing, this is how signs are starting to show that it's going to want to go back up. And it's going to, this is how you know it's happy hour. So you enter at 23, okay? Even if we entered previously and went back down -2 pips, it's still fine. You enter at 23. You had the HE arrow with you, had 15 minutes, you had 5 then after, but you still had momentum. So you let this thing move, and usually you get in for 10 pips to 15, however you feel like it. Now again, I don't always trade happy hour, but I traded this one because we had the perfect luxury to get 15 and 5 super close to each other within minutes, within seconds. So it was a nice one. So of course, if I saw it and I could see it's going up because we had all the great confirmation, I entered and I actually took it at 23. So let's move it a bit further. So we're at 30. So look at that. So we took it at 23. That's already 13 pips. And it still didn't touch here under, so there's still plenty of space here to go up higher. But we could stop it there and just say, you know what, we've had enough. Someone's calling me. Let's see who's calling me. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna end this video and then I'm gonna answer. Okay guys, I hope this was super clear for you of, again, Spider, of how to enter trades, where to enter, what to see, what kind of information to read, okay? I gave you around 5 or 6 trades today, and it wasn't a great day for some of you. So that's still a great day. That was, what? That was 70 pips or so, because we had one trade with 20 pips, 25. So there you go, guys. That was another example of entries. You don't need to see anyone's account. You don't need to see the exact trades. You don't need anyone to tell you enter now, exit now, because then you're just never going to learn for yourself, and you're never going to be able to have this amazing skill of learning to read the charts so easily and taking the trade so easily and helping your whole family, your sisters, brothers, cousins, anyone to do the same thing. If you don't know how to fish yourself, you need to learn how to fish for yourself, guys, and I'm showing you right now. You can't ignore the signs. The signs are right there for you. They're showing you where to start from, where to end it. You have all the signs that you need, all the signs. All you gotta do is open your eyes and stay focused on the charts and check them all. Don't just look at one and think this is on the top of the BB band, I'm gonna take it down. Oh, but wait, what do we have here? Oh, we have a pink against us. Oh, that's fine, it's gonna disappear because we're at the top of the BB band. Really? No. No, that is a wrong way of doing it, okay? It's got to start at the top of the bottom of the BB bands, but it's got to start with the right story, the right information, the right momentum or DX, okay? I don't want to keep it for so long. I've already been talking for a long time. I hope you got it, guys. Now, if you don't, I'm going to do another video of different entries, similar topic entries, because I see your entries are the problem. And reading correctly. I'm gonna do another one next week, okay? Love you guys and see you tomorrow.